This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded February 17th, 2016. Episode 287. Pull the trigger.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
What's up, nerd?
Whoa, on the road, traveling
again.
Yep, boom, boom. I'm in San Francisco. I will be doing a meetup tomorrow, probably by the time this is
it'll
released.
be over and done and dusted, won't it?
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
But yeah, just doing my usual thing on the West Coast for a little bit. And,
all right.
How about you? What's new with you, man?
Well, you're sucking off the supply frame teat.
Sure, yes. That makes it sound really appealing, by the way.
Well, it's all paid for by them, is it not? You know.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not doing work, man. This is my job.
Yeah, that's your job is just to hang out in hotel rooms. Are you sick of it yet?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's what my job is, to hang out in hotel rooms. Right. No, I love it, man. It's been good. We're working on some cool new things, so we'll see.
Right.
Some tools, hopefully, that I could talk about eventually here.
Excellent.
Software still continues to be weird. I don't really get it, but...
Software is in, like, the online tools.
Yeah, about. Web stuff, yeah.
Web stuff and the Parts.io you're talking about.
Right, yes. So, yeah, that's going good. And tomorrow, the meetup is actually James, Bald Engineer. Right. I think you've seen some of his... He's got tutorials online. And then Natasha, who runs Snap EDA, so that's one of the footprint. It's supposed to be like a footprint library for a lot of different CAD programs. So, and I've been trying to post the talks, so I just posted a couple of talks from the last time, and it's a good resource.
Excellent. How many people turn up to these things? I think I've seen photos, because you usually tweet photos. Looks like there's, 50 people there or something sometimes.
Yeah, it's about that. Depends on how many people are in the office that day, too. Usually 65. Right. We limited at 65 on the RSVPs, but yeah, usually 40, 45 show up. So,
got it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad. It's always a good time. It's a lot of the same people kind of month to month.
I was going to say, is it the same people or?
Yeah, but that's actually a nice thing. It's kind of kind of catch up with people, good way to keep in touch and stuff like that. And
got it.
I highly, highly recommend people do meetups, either throwing their own or attending them. So I think
rub it in.
That was not a veiled thing that encouraging Dave to get off his ass. But no, it's good. It's good to kind of just trade. I always push for. I sent actually an extra reminder this time. Bringing. Like you and I talk about this a lot too. But just bring whatever you have, even if it's like a board that didn't work out. Like just having that in hand.
Have it in your pocket. You can just whip it out.
Yep.
When in doubt, whip it out.
Different phrase than I would use, but yes, I agree with the sentiment. Definitely bring hardware and use it as a conversation piece. I think that's valid at almost every nerd and even quasi-nerd events. It's just right. It's a good thing to talk about. It shows what you're passionate about. It shows what you're working on. So I'll have my that board I mentioned last time, that STM32 board I've been working on. Finally got that assembled and ready to go. So
you have to hang it around your neck on a gold chain. That's a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Big, thick gold chain with the PCB hanging off it.
I am super pissed at myself. Do you do checklists when you do boards?
I used at one point I did a checklist kind of thing, but no, when I was a PCB doing it full time, I was actually that's pretty much all I was doing is PCB design. I was a full time professional. No, you just it's so routine for you. You don't need a checklist kind of thing. Although you do
these
go
are just
through
small
a
things,
checklist, but you do go through a checklist, but you don't have to. Like, you don't have it pinned up on your wall and you go through each step.
But that's the thing. I feel like it is a good idea. So, like, last time, this board, I was looking at it, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, I didn't... So, I remembered the big stuff, right? Like, mounting holes, right? That's a big one that I've been trying to remember every other time. But like the silly little things like
Yeah.
marking polarities on your
I know.
input power
Yep.
connectors, right? It's
Yep.
just like,
I know. Yep.
why?
There's so many little ones. Yep.
Yeah, and you know the really big one is that I always forget for some reason. I had 2 LEDs on board as indicators for like a USB to serial type thing.
Right.
And then I didn't put an LED, just an indicator LED for power. Like that is such a simple and effective and useful, like or like putting a second one just on a digital output, you know, just as an indicator LED. It's stupid simple, but you know it can make such a big difference in. Oh hey, this thing's on now. Why is this on? This shouldn't be on. One of the I/O pins is powering the entire part. This isn't right. You know, like it could be like tons of different things there, or. You know, I thought this was on. I thought I put power on it, but there's no LED, so obviously something's wrong. You know, just like all these little things that you forget about.
When I have had checklists and I've gone through, I still find they don't pick up everything because each board has its own unique sort of stuff. You know, like its own unique things. And so when I finish a board, I'll just sit there for a day, like you know, like a professional board. Right, at a job. I'll just sit there all day, just panning around that board, going in different views. This is where the 3D view is brilliant, right? Because you can see, you know, it's what you see is what you get, you know. So, like, I don't care about the components most of the time. I just, you know, are my silk screens
right?
you know?
View.
Yeah. Are there, you know, are the polarity indicators on those connectors, you know? And I'll just spin that board around in 3D view for hours all day, just and picking up little stuff here and there. That probably, you know, like if I had to do a checklist for every single issue I've found on every single board, the checklist would be so long it'd become unusable, right? And you just wouldn't want to do it. It's, you know, sometimes
well,
it's...
I don't know. I've read about the power of checklists before, right? I mean, like, so I was just on an airplane today. Like pilots, you know, like that's a huge thing for the airlines industry is like, checklists are super big because even when you think you don't need it, like,
you've got
there is a power to that just because it's part of the routine.
Yes,
and you know that's very cultural.
Well,
but
there's
also
a lot on the
safety.
line too. You know,
yeah, of course,
like, you know.
Right? Yeah, you and I pay an extra $10 to get another Oshpark board made. They you know,
they crash the plane. Yeah, right.
yeah. No, but I know what you mean though. A lot of it is going to be just kind of learned lessons over time. And I think that having that, you're right, having that visual thing of just, the best thing is having it in hand. Obviously, when you have it in hand, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot blank, 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 and blank, right? But having some kind of way to visualize it and see it in a different way before sending it out, that's actually a really good point.
Some people just don't like procedures for what insert reason here, you know,
sure.
And that's, you know, and that's fine. I get in moods like that where, you know, I don't want to run through some stupid checklist. I know what I'm doing. Push the go button. Or sometimes you just don't care, you know, too much. Oh, it's near enough. It passed the DRC, right? Good enough, you know, go.
Yeah, right.
I don't care if I have to respin this sucker, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Although I don't know about the Altium or anything, but you can generate Gerbers without even checking DRC if you really want to.
You can. Yeah, I think they might force you into things these days.
But that's another checklist item is like, did I check DRC?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think Altium's going more that way because to release stuff, you know, into the vault or whatever, you know, and not up on the later, you know. But back then, that was their aim, was to, you know, like you went through certain steps, and this is what you did to check it in. You know, you do your DRC, you generate your Gerbers, and you do whatnot. And,
that's
you
good.
know, you bomb.
I mean, it's a procedure type thing,
you know,
right? That makes sense. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's kind of shades of checklists, right? It's like, there could be somewhere it's like, oh no, you have to have like a sign twice kind of, you know, checklist process. That's different than here's the things you should be doing before you could check it in. It's just a reminder. That's probably a better way to do it. So,
and still, even with checklists, it's better if somebody else does it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
because you can mentally skip over it. You know, you can mentally skip over a thing because you're 100% sure it's there, or you see things that aren't there. You know, because they're in your mind. It happens. You know,
right, and that's effectively what design reviews are as well. But I think that having it as a standardized, here's the things you should be checking, or at least think about checking. That's good to have.
Right.
So, yeah, man. So I forgot it this time, but yeah, you know, live and learn.
Yeah. So you're using a new CAD package, as in mechanical CAD package, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were going to talk about that. Yeah, so on the mechanical side, I've been using Fusion 360. Have you ever used that?
No, I have not.
That's the so it's by Autodesk. It was like, so they have a couple. They have Inventor is one of the big ones. Right. I actually heard about it from Jesse, who runs Keyboardio. So he and I kind of talked about KiCad a bunch, and I was asking what he's got this mechanical design, and he actually gave a talk last time that I was here in San Francisco, which I can post. But basically, he was telling me about they were trying to bring up this web-based tool. There's a bunch of these. They're all kind of they want you to pay monthly now instead of buying the big site license type of thing, and a lot of them are web-based. So this is actually a web-based tool, kind of like what Altium, what's the one you use, Circuit Maker?
The Circuit Maker, yep.
Yeah, same kind of thing where it's like you have a application on your computer, but it's still linked into a library online. But there's
it's free, is it?
Well, it's 30 days are free, and then but then they support like startups and small businesses and stuff like that. So it's like I think like 1 year license is free for startups. So Contextual Electronics is
a startup.
A startup, sure. Yeah. But it's also for free for students and stuff like that. So yeah, I know. I think it is really accessible, and I'm seeing more and more people use it. And actually, there's a really great YouTube channel called NYC CNC. Even though he lives in Ohio now, he started in New York and now he moved back to Zanesville, and he's got some good Fusion Friday stuff he does, and then the company makes some good stuff too, good tutorials and
got it.
Yeah,
we were looking at another web-based one called Onshape.
Onshape, yeah, and that was another one that was recommended to me. What do you think about it?
Well, David, not me, but David likes it. And he wants to use it. So we're looking at getting a license for that. It's not free, although, I don't even think there's a trial. Well, there might be a trial version, I'm not sure. But it's all web-based. It's entirely web-based. I'm not even sure that a server, you actually run it on a server. So
it's like in the browser?
It's in the browser, yeah. And but yeah, David seems to think it's quite good. So we're talking with them at the moment about getting some licenses. To see if we can use it.
I remember
because
reading about
we
them.
are whores, basically. We will use whoever gives us, whatever package gives us a free license, unless it totally sucks, So
yeah,
like because
that
not
does
fussy.
matter.
We have to standardize on something, so
Yeah. Right, and you want to be able to. You're not going to necessarily be modeling stuff, but you want to be able to view stuff. And
I want to be able to use it
right?
and just maybe make a few mods and do a few videos showing it off or something. Yeah. So I need a license as well. So. Yeah.
Right. And ultimately that's actually what got me into it. It was like I finished building the 3D printer and then I realized that I don't know how to design new things.
Right.
Like I know SketchUp, but I don't know how to I don't know how to make complex
it's a
shapes.
different ball game. No. Whereas David says, Onshape actually has a lot of the stuff that what's the one he uses? SolidWorks. SolidWorks has, right. So, he says, it's got all the powerful manufacturing stuff or if it doesn't have it, they're already planning to add it. It's in their list to add or whatever. And, he seems to like it. So, anyway.
Yeah, no, I remember hearing about that. That one was, they raised like a buttload of money, like $60 million for that thing.
Did they?
I remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
they apparently they're people from, former executives from SolidWorks or something. So.
So it's. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Because they started SolidWorks and then they sold it to Dassault or however you say it, the French company that now owns. Yeah. So, San Francisco Sirens.
San Francisco, there you go.
Yeah.
Another mass shooting in America.
Maybe.
Sorry, I had to.
Hopefully not. Yeah. But yeah, and then they kind of, I think they got to the point where like they sold it, and then they kind of stuck around long enough, and then they started working on this web-based one.
Right. Okay. So, I didn't know it was the founders of Sol. I knew it was some executives or something from SolidWorks.
I think it was. So, but anyways, they raised a bunch of money, and so it's got a lot of hype, and I have not tried it.
Well, actually, I've got a link here. It's like why we started from scratch in the CAD business. Here we go. John Hershik. I'll send you a link to this. Cool. So yes, he looks like he goes through. Why they why they restarted the whole thing. Actually, it's not that long, so it might be worth a read. There you go. We'll link it in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and you and I'm not a particularly huge fan of Upverter, but I do think that I don't want to use it, but I do think that the whole being in the browser kind of thing actually is, in general, the trend that we're going to continue to see on everything, including for CAD and everything else, right? It's just an inevitability. I
suspect so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. There are a lot of benefits too. Different views and stuff like that. You can view it on
and your
tablets
work's always there. You don't have to worry about backing it up, and you can access it from anywhere. It's
yeah. Well,
that's why. I don't know. Was it a decade? It might have been a decade ago. I moved to Gmail. Right, I moved to web-based email. I used to have email servers, on my
POP3
server,
versus IMAP.
POP3, right, and all that, all that old school jazz. But then, I moved to the web-based email. It was because I was using so many machines, like in different places, and it just made sense. It was a pain in the ass otherwise.
Right, right.
It's why I'm using Gmail. It's why I'm using Dropbox. Everything's just available from anywhere I work, It's
yeah. Well, I still like the at least right now. I mean, I like the one where it still locally caches stuff. I mean, and this is, I think that's actually, again, to use the circuit maker thing, where it's you're still working locally versus being completely tied to the, so that every change you do ties into the server. It's like, because then if your connection's slow, then every small change is affected by that. Like, I think about things like Evernote. I use Evernote, where it's like, I'm writing obviously this is just text, but writing something locally on my computer, it saves it, but then it syncs against the cloud stuff. Yeah, that's great. That's the kind of thing that I actually, that's the same thing as Dropbox, where it's like, once you take a quick pause, it's going to start syncing to the server and that kind of stuff. Actually, I think it has, you're right, it has a lot of impact. It can really save your bacon quite a bit. Like we talked about last week with you don't like Git necessarily. You just use Dropbox,
awful.
right?
It was horrible. Yeah. No, I just use Dropbox. I don't have the need for version control. I know you crap on about it, and I know the benefits of it. I've used it before, so please nobody try and argue with me.
No, we're not.
Okay?
I'm not going to, at least. Yeah.
It's just and
that was up until you told me that you were using Dropbox. I think at the bare minimum, I think using Dropbox or some kind of syncing service for your stuff, that's the bare minimum. And if you're doing that, then I think for a lot of CAD type stuff, you're in good shape. Because even in a revision control system with CAD or some kind of visual thing like that, it's all or nothing. It's not like you're going to merge changes. That's really the big difference. Right. Like if you're at the point where you're going to be merging, two people working on code separately, and you're going to be merging into the same project, then you need to have more controlled system.
That's a different game.
But with CAD, it's going to be like you're going to be working on something, and then when you're done, you hand it off to David, and he's like, okay, no, David's working on it, and it's back to you, that kind of thing. Like, that's more of a Dropbox
That
thing.
was the co-working vision that Altium had. You can have multiple people working on the PCB at once, and they worked on the technology to do it, and it sucked ass. It really did, and it probably always will. To have multiple people laying out a board, it's just
it's just a problem that doesn't really exist, right? Because
it's a it's a solution looking for a problem.
Narrow.
Like technically, it's a very neat solution, right? The way they did it, right? Technically very good, but it wasn't an issue that needed to be solved. They thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and well, of course, they learned that lesson. Yep,
that's right. Well, so you are doing you're having your minion do 3D modeling for you, huh?
Yep.
So what are you guys building? Something new?
We're doing stuff. Yeah, we're doing something. I should actually send you a... Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I should send you a little 3D
the multimeter
model.
Yeah,
I'm working on a couple of projects.
Yeah, cool.
Several.
So do you think you'll actually... So I mean, we're talking about CAD just as a thing, but like, I don't know if you knew I was back on my old secondary podcast for a while back, Engineering Commons, and That's where I was talking about this. I was thinking, like, I've talked about this on a podcast before, but it was there that I was talking about 3D modeling and stuff like that. But I was talking about, just cross-disciplinary stuff, right? Obviously, you've been getting more into the business side of things. I've dabbled in that a little bit as well. But, it's just, my vision of the future is more and more people as the solos. I could just call them solos, right? And I think that, you don't have to be great at this kind of thing. You can still hire an industrial design firm if you're really going crazy, or if you're or a mechanical engineer if you want to just make sure the mold's right for plastic and that kind of stuff. But for a lot of things, like, okay, I'm going to be 3D printing a simple case, I can model that. I can just dimensioning.
Can I, but there's a difference between our schools and skill set, right? Yours and mine in 3D CAD, and somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Right.
Oh, no. I don't deny that at all. But I'm just saying that, like, even just being able to dip that first toe in.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's actually pretty important these days. Dimensioning a drawing, that kind of thing.
Here's the difference, though, right? David has a different mindset to me, right? See, to him, everything can be custom. Right, everything. Oh, I'll just model that in 3D, and I'll go to China. I've got the contacts. I'll get it made. And that scares the crap out of me. It's like everything. That's because
you've experienced and you know better.
Right? And it's like, but to him, it's like, that's like everything can be solved that way, and that has its good and its bad points. Right? Because, you can lead down that rabbit hole of, okay, you've got 20 custom parts in this design when you only really needed 2. You could have used off the shelf. Yeah, you could have used an off the shelf case. You just didn't look hard enough. Or something. Right. Or it's good enough. Like the off the shelf case is good enough for the look and feel of the product. You don't have to gild the lily and go completely injection molded and everything else.
And I feel like that kind of stuff is what ends up. So, with someone like David, right? Obviously, he's very, very, very bright, and and very ambitious and stuff like that. Ultimately, I feel like that's also part of how far you take it down the line as well. Like, I recall I was really, really interested in making a cable assembly, and I couldn't find what I needed. I searched through, I talked to every vendor I could find, and just could not find what I needed in terms of, a pluggable cable solution that I wanted. First off, cables suck in the first place. We know that.
Yeah, of course. It's a given.
And it got halfway, and then got the mechanical designer to make this housing for the cable to plug into, and blah 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 blah. And like everything seemed great at like the prototype stage. And it's like, we got prototype shot and stuff like that, and that was great too. But then it just got to the point where it was like, okay, but now we need to make it a product. And like that's just another step up where, now the case it looked good as a prototype, but this isn't good when you're going to be shooting 50,000 injection molded plastic pieces, because over time the mold wears and the plastic sags, and the executive didn't like this little thing, and then it's like, and then the crazy thing is like, and then the thing the thing we don't talk about on here a lot either is, and then you have to get it certified, holy crap. And we've talked to some guests about this, but like, getting things like certified and moving outside the norm, or taking that on when a finished product might already be certified versus you having to go through and certify it. We've talked about this stuff for like FCC testing and similar things before. That is a big deal, and that will make you hate your life for a while. That certification just can really, and I think what ultimately it does is it just puts you off from going straight to custom the next time. And
okay.
It's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that everything has a trade-off, and especially
welcome to the world of engineering. It's almost by definition what engineering's about, right? Is trade-offs. You can't just gild the lily on everything. That's not,
Well, you should be pounding this into David's head, man. Come on. Do you need to get him on the horn right? Is he there? Can we shout at him?
No, he's not here. No, he's on holidays. No, sorry.
See, that's the thing. So, and then these kids go off on holiday,
Yeah. No, it's, and it's like, even when, NASA, went the Apollo project, they went to the moon, right? Even budget was no...
Right. Money was no object.
Money was no object. Manpower was no object, right? But there were so many realistic problems that they had to compromise on.
Yeah.
You know? And, and there's just no choice sometimes. And that's why a lot of, especially like startups and crowdfunded projects and things like that, the wheels will just completely fall off the billy cart. Because, they'll think that they can do this and this, and they can add this and add that, and this extra perk, we'll just add this functionality. and then it all falls apart.
Yeah. I was, so at work today, we did like a company hackathon, and actually software people are pretty good at this normally, but like super constraining the problem. Like we all had these crazy ideas, and then we're like, let's just find one example and make that work first. And that's the same kind of thing with a product too. It's like just get like the bare minimum of the thing working, and then once you do that, and actually personally I really dislike hackathons. I feel ineffective at them. I don't feel like I want to plan things, but the thing that it's actually really good for is putting you out of your comfort zone and saying, what can I get done today? And what that does is it kind of just strips away all the extraneous crap, and it just gets to the point where it's like, okay, what can I get done?
Just the bare bones. Yeah.
Right. What can I throw away? And that actually that is probably one of the more powerful things about hackathons is just
agreed.
Don't gild the lily, right? It's like you can't and get to the point where the main thing is working first, and then once that works, then you could start bolting stuff on. If the bolt-ons don't work, then who cares, right? You still have the thing that works in the first place. Right. So and the same thing works in hardware, right? It's like get the board working by itself before you start trying to shove it into a case. It's like
or sometimes just get a board.
Yeah, or get the LED blinking when you jury rig the wires together, right? I mean, like
sometimes
anything.
The circuit will be half finished. We'll order the board. Because we want a board. We want a board, and we can build up half the circuit on it. We can fit it into a case. We can play with it. We can hold it. It's not finished, but we send it away, because you're halfway there.
Yeah, man, my old boss, one of the best things he taught me I was just like stressing over this and that. And he's like, just pull the trigger. Like really, sometimes you really do. You need to, right? And it's just like accept that you're going to have some screw ups, and that's part of the process. Especially if it's just a prototype, right? If you're going straight to production, first off, you're an idiot, and second off, if that's the case, then or if you have maybe that's not the realistic thing, but say you have a really expensive board and you only get one turn or two turns total, that's fine. Maybe you spend a little bit more time there. But if you're doing a cheap proto, just pull the trigger, man. Just accept that some stuff's going to be broken because you can always bodge wire. Bodge wires are the currency of electronics, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Pull the trigger, folks. And I don't mean that in the American way.
Oh, really? Two references, Dave?
Two references, dude.
Okay. Well,
sorry, I got bombarded with the Jeb Bush thing.
Jesus. I don't even.
Next.
Yes. So 3D modeling. And in general, I think that having those kind of skills, at least in some kind of proficiency in that kind of stuff, really useful. Because at some point you're going to have to talk to someone about, how tall your capacitors are and interference and that kind of stuff. And products are not just circuit boards, like
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like you might see them like that on Kickstarter, but in the real world, people want plastic wrapped around their electronics. So
those pesky customers, ruin everything.
Yep.
Oh dear. So what's this? Speaking of cloud-based rubbish, what's this? Microchip are now on the cloud. Yay! You can do your pics in the cloud.
Yes.
I haven't tried. Is it released yet, or are they just announced that they're going to do it?
I think it's just announced. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it's out. That's the thing. I never really got into the pic side of things. I know that you've done that.
I've done
in the past.
many pic projects. Yes.
Yeah.
Various
what do people like about
it? Started out well. See, the thing is, right? People go, "Oh, why pick? Why pick?" Right? Because pick was the first. There might be fanboys out there who may correct me, but pick was basically the first easy to get in, cheap to get into microcontroller when they released the PIC-16 F84. It had flash, the PIC-16C84, which had E2 PROM programmable memory. You could reprogram the chip. Wow, without having to get an expensive windowed version that you stick in your EEPROM eraser.
That's right.
Or
the
go
UV
through
light.
all these one-time programmables,
Yeah.
And you could buy these cheap programmers for them. It was one of the first, right? AVR wasn't even around then, right? We're talking, I don't even think the company existed, right?
Really?
I don't know about timelines, but, it was I don't know. Anyway, definitely Atmel were around, but I don't think the AVR was
but
around.
maybe the
I'm sure I'm going to be corrected.
Yeah, whatever.
So but
architecture.
Whatever. Yeah, architecture. Okay. But
but that was the first one. That was one of the early ones that was accessible.
Yes.
You're saying just as accessible thing,
as an accessibility thing to your average Joe. That's why PICs took off in the hobbyist magazine world, right? Before the internet, right? Magazine projects that all be using PICs because that was the one you could get. That's the one you could buy readily. Before you had online e-commerce and everything else, right? You could get your hands on these. You could get the hands on development tools relatively cheaply, and you could code it in assembler, which is what you did back in the day because C compilers were still sort of a bit, you got to pay $1,000 for a C compiler. Yep. Kind of thing, So I started off in assembler on the PIC, and as did everyone else. But it was that reprogrammability. I don't know if they were the first one, but they were the first one readily available. So that's why, and it's legacy. It's just carried over and over.
Well, that probably made a lot of brand loyalty and stuff like that too.
A lot of brand loyalty, and to this day, I think you can still buy almost every original PIC chip.
Nice.
So they had a reputation of not discontinuing them and actually abandoning you as a customer. So that was
that kind of thing. I think invariably too. You get people that are doing this as a hobby, and then they start working in a company, and then they say, "Well, why not that?" Right? I mean, that's the same kind of thing. You'll see that a lot of places. So that's good. I remember, obviously, you weren't there when I interviewed him, but Voya. When I was in Serbia last time, he was huge in the PIC stuff, and some of the stuff I saw that he did on just simple, I think it was PIC-16 as well. It was just graphic outputs and all this crazy stuff. It was really fancy. So way beyond my purview.
Got it.
Yeah.
Atmel AVR came out in 1996. There you go.
Really?
1996 was their first. I don't know what chip it was, but it was their first. Yes, the AVR architecture, first in 96. Whereas PIC goes back to the General Instruments chips. PIC stands for Peripheral Interface Controller, and it used to be. I think it's General Instruments used to own them. Right before they became Microchip, and back then they were making these one-time programmable microcontrollers that were used in everything. So they date back to the 80s, they date back a decade or more, way before some of the other newer architectures. So, yep.
I jumped past all that stuff. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't do any
you're
of that.
too young. You don't remember this stuff.
No,
right?
I mean, but I didn't even do really. Never did. I mean, I've done some Arduino stuff, of course.
Yeah, but you've never done,
I've never done low-level stuff, and now it's just I'm in the STM32 world. It's straight to Cortex. All right, whatever.
There you go. The first General Instruments PICs were in 1976.
Whoa, nice.
Okay, right, before you were born, sonny boy.
That's right.
It's and that's how old school they are. So there's a lot of legacy there.
Yeah. Right.
So, yep. Although it wasn't the first PIC, but that's the first General Instruments architecture came from there. So, yep.
And now you can program it from the internet.
Right. Yay. Progress. That's
Well, no. So we started the show talking about. Well, not started the show, but we were talking also about web-based tools and stuff. Have you evolved your view at all? Obviously, when we were talking about Embed and that started coming out. Obviously that's a cloud-based compiler as well. Do you have any Any revisions on that side of things?
I haven't used them, so I can't really comment.
I remember, so I've been obviously I immediately devoured Jack Ansel's newsletter as soon as it hits the inbox.
Right.
And if people don't know, you should totally read it. The Embedded Muse. You can sign up on Ansel.com. But it seems like I remember Jack at the beginning didn't seem like he was super jazzed on it, and then obviously when Alicia and Chris were on here and they did the call-in show with me, they were recommending it as well. And I think it's kind of one of those I wouldn't say crept in, but it's definitely. I've seen more positive than negative things about it lately, just because of the simplicity and, it's. And if people don't remember, it's basically you can write in an online IDE, and then it does the compiling, and then it pushes the binary down to you, and you just basically drop it as a file into the USB. It looks like a USB flash drive, and that you drop it into that, and it basically programs the controller. Like that's pretty cool. I think that's an interesting model. I don't like that it still doesn't have debugging, but otherwise, I mean, I think that actually, overall, I think that is actually a really interesting low friction model to get people especially because it's cross-platform as well. It's more than just one vendor, so that's kind of interesting too. And it's very low friction. I do imagine someone coming into the hobby or the field in general and being like, what's debugging then again?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But, you can learn that later, Debugging can actually happen with just a single LED, so.
There are debugging fanboys out there. I see it on the forum a lot where, debugging's everything. You must have the ultimate debugging tool that can trace step through, a minefield of, bugs, and they go, the PitKit 3 is garbage because it's a garbage debugger. You've got to have the real ICE, and there's the ICE fanboys who, you have to debug it on the real hardware, none of this in-system serial, debugging protocol rubbish, and it there's a lot of...
I mean, it shades are great for everything, right? It's not, it's not necessarily going to be...
I've never been a debugger fanboy. I've never really had the need to,
right.
trace
if you or
step
I write
through
something
everything.
And it's bad, we're going to have to start over no matter what.
My code's never been bad enough where I've had to. Yeah, as you said, I will just add a couple of lines of code that actually blinks a LED or does a serial output or toggles a line, and then I can check it with a scope, and that's,
Right,
but
then again, we're not doing
for me.
crazy things, right?
No, we're not debugging 10 million lines of embedded C++.
Right, or if you're debugging a what's that called, where you're writing directly to memory from an ADC or something, having just high throughput type calculations, stuff like that.
Would it be direct memory access?
DMA? Yes, thank you. I was thinking, it's not DRM. DRM's totally different. Don't say DRM. Yes, it's DMA, thank you. But, just things like that where it's really super high throughput.
Hang on. I just got a date. I have to go back. Sorry. Okay. Not as early as I thought. The 16C84 from the PIC from Microchip was 1993. But it was a big deal. But once again, it was still 3 years before AVR was even, a wet dream. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's why it got a lot of brand loyalty. Sorry, back on target. Stay on target. Stay on
target. His computer's off.
Is everything okay, Chris?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm using the Force. That's what
use the Force. Use the fork, Luke. So micros and stuff. We should probably move away from that because I think we pretty much run out of things that we have to say about micros. At least I do. I've run out. Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah. So.
Really? That's boring.
What? Not done. We're not done with the show, are we? No.
Right. No, I've got 20 minutes left. Jeez, that 40 minutes flew by. Sorry, we've just pissed it away.
Yeah, it's
about
fine.
Nothing.
That was good. That was good conversation.
All right, one of our best episodes ever, you think?
Yeah, that's right. Right, we should end it now, just while we're at a high point.
Boy.
Yeah. So, how goes the DMM enterprise. You are the DMM.
I'm packing and shipping
master
up to the wazoos.
Yeah,
at the moment.
okay?
I know I'm sold out, and here's another thing which is an issue. Like I've got my new rebadged Bryman multimeter, right?
Yes.
That I'm selling, and I haven't really even advertised it yet as such, and it's sold out already. I ordered 200 of these things, and sold out. Well, I've got a few left that I want to send to various people, but basically, public as far as right. Right, yeah, all right. Do I get the hint?
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, I'll send you one.
Anyways.
Happy? Anyway,
Yes.
We've been basically sold out already, right? And after it leaked online, it accidentally leaked. Actually, I think we spoke about this the other week, did we?
Yeah. We leaked it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it started to sell, and I realised, I'm probably going to sell out of these things. So I contacted them and said, I'd like to order another batch. What's the lead time? 2 months. It'll be April, right, before we can ship you new ones. And then it's holy crap, 2 months every time I place an order, because they basically build them to spec. That's
wow.
that's it's not like they build 110,000 of these things and keep them in stock for you. They I guess they might have the just in time model. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know.
like a PCB. What do they call it? The supermarket. You ever seen that before?
Right. Or isn't the Dell model, didn't Dell used to make computers to spec for you? As soon as you placed an order, they'd spin it up and they'd manufacture it,
Yeah.
or something. Or they had all the parts or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. What I mean is the super, I don't think it's supermarket, something like that though, but it's basically, I've worked in manufacturing places like that where it's like they have a bunch of common pieces, and they would have they'd build 500 of the common board, and maybe there's 200 of those available, but you're still waiting for 200 of the displays that aren't yet made, that kind of thing. So
got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they obviously don't like to keep stock, so they basically effectively make them to order. It's hard to get information out. I guess a lot of it's trade secret. They don't want everyone to know how they do things and why. But yeah, it's 2 months lead time.
Yeah.
To get another batch, and like I expected, maybe a few weeks. I thought, it's a new model, they'd start churning them out, so maybe it'll be in the pipeline kind of thing. But no, 2 months. Thank you very much, and I'm ordering a big quantity too. Yeah, and so it's and.
Actually, so I've been doing a bunch of stuff with manufacturing stuff. I mean, on the software side recently, but. You don't really, until you get to a certain point, you don't really think about that stuff because, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to buy stuff that's in the marketplace. I can buy stuff on DigiKey or Mouse or whatever. And you don't have to really think about it. But when you do get to a certain level, like you are, right? So you're buying, a couple hundred of something. It's like, no. Lead time is a huge thing that you don't really have to think about. And what people sometimes don't realize, I'm sure some of our listeners understand this, is something that is 8 to 12 week lead time, which is, 6 to 8 weeks is standard.
Oh, you young whippersnappers have got it easy. 40 weeks when I was a boy.
Yeah, of course, right.
I'm not kidding.
No, I know
weeks,
you are.
Right?
But let me say why that is. If people don't know, that's because they're literally taking new silicon and putting it into a fab like that. So if you want to buy a bunch of new PIC 16s and they don't have them in the marketplace already, and there's none that are
they've got to slot you
customers
into their schedule.
That's right. Yeah, you have to go. You are basically dun 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 dun, dun, and they're basically just churning out new silicon and testing it and packaging it, or cutting it up and packaging it and testing it again, and that is. Like Dave said, back in his day, because he's old, and that was just a capacity thing, right? And if you don't have lots of excess capacity, then you're basically getting in line, and sometimes big customers get to jump the line a little bit, and
Apple or somebody comes along, and boom, everyone else gets bumped, right?
Right, exactly. So, and it quickly ripples throughout the ecosystem because so now Dave is getting an 8-week lead time on a multimeter. That means that they're probably getting 4 to 6 week lead time on their stuff, right? And then they can build it in a week or two and get the stuff shipped out.
Maybe that's the reason for the delay, is that they're going to order the parts.
I don't think that's a delay even, though. I mean, that's just it's not like there's just bunches of stock in the market. Like, yes, there is stock in the marketplace.
Yep.
But once you get past a certain quantity, it's all about that purple screw, right? Or like on your the microcurrent thing, right? You had that one resistor.
That one resistor. That was
that's just a thing that you have to deal with, and it just ripples through the system really quickly. And I tell you what, like looking at this, I look at this stuff all the time now. There's no way to fix it,
no,
other than building with complete jelly bean components, which means you're not making anything
exactly, and you can turn it. Place. Yeah, that's right. But in this case, it completely ruins. I hate to use the word my business model, right? But I've got a lot of people asking for this thing. It's popular, and I haven't really even advertised it properly yet.
Lead time makes the heart grow fonder. I think that's how the phrase goes. It's just coming off Valentine's Day. I think that's how it goes.
Like, I did this on the forum. I went, what the hell do I do? Right? I asked this on the forum. Do I take pre-orders? Do I crowdfund it so I have, money in the bank and get the hype and get people up and get the money up front and blah, blah, blah. Do I do this? Do I do that?
You hire a hype man, right? Like right. Rappers do. Like, yo, Dave Jones, gonna have the best DMM ever.
And see, that's the thing, right? I had already planned this week to do a video actually reviewing this meter. Right? And, but what's the point? There's no point if I don't have anything to sell. Right? It's stupid.
You're thinking like an engineer, man. You're not thinking fourth dimensionally. Not money-ishly,
Yeah, but no,
money.
I would get more. No, but I would get more if I wait. I think I would. I think I'm doing the right thing. I'm not going to do a review video until stock's almost there or until I actually have stock to hand. Because, you'll get X amount of people signing up, right? But then you'll get a lot of people who go, no, I just don't want to wait.
Yeah.
It's a trade-off. And I think if I did a video now, I just have a lot of pissed off. I've already got a lot of pissed off people. Oh, why can't I buy it?
Yes, we are a culture that's used to, a lot of stock in the system.
Getting it straight away.
Yeah, that's true.
No, and it's
and that's another thing I think from a business perspective too is that like a lot of people don't realize that someone might say, well, why don't you just build a bunch and sit on them? And it's like, I'm not sure about where you live, but at least where in the U.S., it's like if you hold inventory, you start getting taxed on inventory. I mean, like it's like you don't get to just there is a cost for overshooting.
Hence the stock take at the end of the year, all that sort of crap.
Sure, exactly. And that's where all that just-in-time stuff comes from as well. It's like you're trying to not only make sure your cash flow is free so that you can build the next one.
Cash flow is the number one thing to keep a company afloat is cash flow.
Yeah, right.
And inventory is the arch enemy of cash flow.
Right.
Stock is the arch enemy.
And so we're going to talk about cash flow. It's not that we're turning into a business podcast here. Let's just talk from a practical standpoint. But
no, it's an important thing considering that everyone, anyone, any Joe Blogs in their garage can be a manufacturer now.
Yeah.
A seller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's important.
So let's use your example here, though. Like, so say I don't know your actual numbers, but let's say you're going to go and build 500 multimeters at $50 a piece, right? And it's like $50 a piece being like the cost to actually build it, right?
Yep.
Thinking about the cash flow there, it's like, holy crap, that's what? That's
$25,000.
That's $25,000. Yeah, it was like, well, is that really right? Yeah, it's $25,000, right? And like that, it doesn't seem like much. But it doesn't seem like much on a per basis. But like, and then that actually ripples through as well because I think we've talked to someone on the show before too, where like some distributors will give you credit for some amount, but but not necessarily that whole $25,000. And it's like that means the rest you gotta cough it up, man.
Well, in this case, I don't have to cough up the money right now, but I've got to cough it up a week or two before they ship.
No, but I mean, so it's like, but I think in a general, like again, talking about people that are maybe thinking about their first Kickstarter or thinking about doing a bootstrap type board that they want to make and sell and that kind of thing. Like, this is a very practical, like, man.
That's why the pre-sales is so important these days because a lot of people don't have the money to do it.
Right.
They can only do pre-sales. That's the only option. Get the money up front from the customer, and then, you can afford to buy all the parts and order the stuff and get them made.
Right.
But
Or you
in
could
this
just,
case, I
remortgage
decided
your
against
house.
that. Right,
you can do that too.
You've got to get a line of credit. I had PayPal ring me up the other day. They physically rung me on the phone, a human from PayPal.
Human being, huh?
Yeah, a human being. They actually work there, apparently.
Weird.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And they said, have you heard about our credit line, our line of credit? And yes, I've heard about it every time I log in. You keep plastering it with me, Yeah. PayPal will give you money, credit now, up front, based on your sales history. Right. And, and stuff like that. And then they'll take out a percentage of your sales when you do actually make the sale.
All it took was Dave had to sign over Sagan.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, your firstborn son?
12,
right, cool. Yeah, right.
It was only 12%, interest rate. Right. I'd rather pay zero, thank you.
Yeah, right. But, these are very practical things for people that are thinking about making products. And not even if you're not making your own product too, right? I mean, like if this is what your accountants at your company and your purchasing agents at your company, if you're big enough, this is what they're thinking about too, because there are significant capital outlays to go and build a hardware product. And then the way it gets back to all the designers that are listening is like, man, don't mess it up.
Right.
We might be okay with pulling the trigger on a PCB where you're buying 3 of them or 5 of them or 10. Don't pull the trigger on the 500 to 1,000 order kind of thing.
Now, I've worked at companies where buying $1 million worth of parts is, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Right? That's what you commit to, right?
Right. Yeah, and hopefully you're making $10 million on all that, whatever pops out, but
exactly.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Massive volumes,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So there you go. So in the end, I decided not to take pre-sale. Well, I did start back orders, so I took a few, but then my shipping systems are. I don't think it's going to work nicely. I'm getting them to change it anyway. So I've stopped back orders there, and I've basically just ordered. I've told them, look, I'll order another X 100, thank you very much, and I'll pay for it out of my own pocket, and, yep, I hope I sell them.
I hope so.
But it's pretty safe because I know the market. I have a decent market to sell into, and if the worst happens, you can always sell at cost. As if people wouldn't. Buy a multimeter at cost. They'd sell like hotcakes,
Right. Yep.
So, so it's practice. It's impossible to lose your money, almost. So.
Oh, I've been working on ways to lose my money for my whole life, Dave. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, if you buy something popular like a multimeter, as if you couldn't sell it at wholesale cost. Right, of course you could, right? People just whack them on eBay at wholesale cost, and they'll fly off the shelves. So you can always get your money back. So the actual downside risk is practically zero. But the upside risk is you tie up your cash.
Yeah,
and it's a big outlay, and.
Right. Well, I think another thing with that is
it is not thousands of dollars. It's like it's more than a year's salary for a lot of people. It's crazy. It's like
Well, and I think so. We talked about lead times as well, right? And that kind of ties into the cash thing too, because it's like if you say you didn't think about that one part that has the 20-week lead time, and you've already bought all the parts,
or somebody just. I've been gazumped with that before. You get totally gazumped. They were in stock in DigiKey yesterday, but you went to press the order button today and stock is zero. Sorry, 12-week lead time.
Right.
Like, yep.
Right, but the difference would be if you had already bought all the other parts, right?
Right, yes.
That kind of thing is...
So you bought all the others, you spent all the money, and you're stuck on one
and
bastard part you can't get.
Part, right, the purple screw, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Jeez. And the red screw just doesn't cut the mustard.
That's right. Right.
Oh, dear. I do like coloured screws. I do like coloured anodized screws.
Where do you source those from?
Plenty of places. The aluminium anodized socket head screws, very popular. You can get them in all different colours. Fantastic.
I mean, to be completely honest here, Dave, I've always had people that were doing the mechanical stuff for me.
Yeah, I know. No, exactly. You know, it's,
I mean, I know we've talked about it, and I'm getting into it, and you're getting into it, and it's like, but like, you know, that is
these things matter, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
like
yeah,
I've worked on projects where the external part of, or if there is no case, the PCB is the case, and the mounting screws are visible. You know, it's like, yeah, you're going to use nice socket. No, this Phillips bloody garbage. You use nice socket cap heads, right? With you know, hex cap heads with, you know, and you can get them in multi-vibrant colours, in 5 fruity flavours. You know, like, yeah, it's great. You know, looks are a big thing. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
You're not a fanboy.
No, I mean, I just my
you've
point
just
was
never
that,
been involved in it, right?
Yeah, I don't. The products I've worked on have always been much bigger than the part that I've worked on. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've never been a significant enough contributor to a big project like that. So
got it.
But yeah, that's thinking about that stuff's good. I think that helps to differentiate products and stuff like that. So that's good. What other links do you want to talk about? Because I have one on here that I want to talk about just because...
Well, go for it, because our hour's up.
It's not quite up, but...
3 minutes.
I think this was Greg Sharavat on Facebook shared this. There's a video of a guy that has a jumper cable on a 500 kilowatt or 50 kilowatt AM tower. Did you watch that one?
No, but I want to.
Oh my God, it's so good. Basically, he's shunting current around something using a cable. He pulls the cable off, and then it sparks across the gap. But because it's like, it basically becomes a plasma speaker because that much power is going through it.
Yes,
I've done
plasma speaker.
You can
cool.
hear the audio rather that's being pumped out on the radio, and it's so freaking cool, and it looks so dangerous. This guy's so nonchalant about it. He's just some workman dude. He's like, whatever.
Right.
It's crazy. That much power.
I'm watching it now.
Yeah.
Yep, he looks like he doesn't really care. Yep.
Well, that's the thing. Like any kind of thing any job most people are in, they get normalized to that stuff, right?
Yeah, I know, totally.
You know, like it's and that actually is very dangerous, I think, too. You know, getting too comfortable with something like that. That's where habits really are quite important. So having good training up front, that kind of thing. But it is crazy.
Anyway, yep.
What else?
It's like the workers who worked on, you know, back on the Empire State Building. You know, you see the photos of them just, you know, out there walking on the, you know, having lunch, just sitting on the beam, hanging over. You know, like maybe that can be the photo for today's. But, you know, you know, but yeah, you become normalized to it. You know.
Yep.
So. Yep. Boy.
Lots of other stuff about. I'm seeing more and more stuff about security. I mean, obviously, we talked about that. I think 2 weeks ago we talked about that.
Boring.
You and I don't really know much about that.
No, we don't.
Got some feedback that people were interested in hearing about that stuff. Obviously, when we talked to Sarah last week, Sarah was a security researcher. We've had other security researchers on the show, like Michael Osman, stuff like that.
We have.
I think that, you know, again, I think I've mentioned this on the show before. Usually the stuff that I'm doing is so low level that there's not enough intelligence to really have to require security. But I think that, you know, being part of a larger system, that stuff is actually quite important. There's
got it.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it yourself optical inspector.
Oh yeah, that's Bob Badley. Yeah,
I haven't. If people don't know, this is a more obscure bit of kit on a surface mount production assembly line, which I haven't really seen people do before. I haven't heard much murmur about it, really. And basically what it does is when the board comes out of the thermal oven, it goes into an optical inspection camera. It's just a camera, and it looks down on the board, and then it can identify each part to make sure it's there. It can compare against templates and all sorts of stuff.
If there's like a tombstone, you know, so like if you expect to see
tombstoning,
a resistor with two silver bits on the end, and you only see one silver bit, it means it's probably tombstone. That kind of thing.
It's probably tombstone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and it flags these things, and you know, or it can read ID, you know, component ID numbers. Yes,
that's is the right part down.
That is a 221. You know, ohm resistor, right? So, it can read the part code. You know, it knows if the component's been put in backwards, right? Because the text is upside down, you know, things like that. And, these optical inspection things. So anyway, which it's not hard. It's just a camera and some smart software.
No, but the software is the important part, right? Of course.
Well, Bob's using OpenCV, which is a ridiculously powerful open source optical visual camera, you know, thingamabob. I know what I'm talking about.
Camera thingamabob, that's right, yes.
And, so he's using that to identify parts and things like that. So that's really jazzy.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually really good. And Bob was, I remember, he was one of the early classes of Accelerator, and he's been doing some other interesting things with manufacturing and stuff. And this was actually, I think he writes about how it's on-site. He's doing on-site his own manufacturing as well, and there's some posts about why he did that. So I thought it was, it's actually really interesting stuff. So it's a good use of readily available technology with some software on top. So it's good.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's basically a webcam stuck on an arm, and it looks down onto your product, and you light it up, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. No, Bob's the author of the article.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
That's bad.
What else you got going on this week? Because we should, let's tease for next week.
What have I got going on? Oh, I'm staring at schematic at the moment for my new product, trying to fix it for them.
Nice.
Telling them, do this. No, you can't do that.
Oh,
no,
Dave, the product manager.
You've got to use this chip. No,
right.
you've got to watch your grounding on this one. That's important.
Good.
Like I actually want to draw them visual. You know, I'm going to mark up the schematic now. It's a big A3 schematic. I'm going to mark it up and go, you know, this ground needs to connect to this point over here because, you know, it's going to be a problem. And
Yeah, no, I was talking to an engineer recently who was telling me, you know, obviously every company is different, but you know, like especially as you start working in larger and larger companies, you know what your focus is around, you know, if you're system design versus, you know, electronics design versus working with a design house or CM or EDS or whatever, and it's really interesting to just hear these different perspectives on it because I've obviously worked in, you know, small to medium sized companies, but when that gets really big. It kind of more mirrors what you're doing. Not saying you're doing a big thing, but more like having external design teams where your main role is defining the system and then doing review around that system.
Exactly.
It sounded very similar. So that's cool. That's good. I mean, and that's good. It's I think that probably some of our listeners have a similar kind of work setup, and there's a lot of challenges to that as well because.
No, but
you can't micromanage, but you sure as hell want to, I bet.
Oh, yes. No, it makes me want to, it always makes me, like, if I had access to the actual schematic, I'd be making changes. You know, if I had access to the PCB layout, I'd be making changes, you know.
Exactly.
Like, it's almost frustrating that you can't, you know, you've got to, you know. You got to mark
you
things
have to
up
kind of trust people, but also you
got to trust things, and then you don't get it back for a week because you tell them what to do, you know, in this best way as possible, and then you got to cross your fingers that the next schematic they send you is fixed, you know, and does what you want, and it's, you know, so. Otherwise,
so
you know,
so
it can take time
in your descriptions and more very careful with your wording, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's that is definitely a challenge.
You know, like I'm just looking at the schematic here, and right off the bat, I can see that they've added this extra chip in, and well, the protection circuitry is now in the wrong place. It's got to go on the other side. They didn't, you know, they didn't think about that, but it was bleedingly obvious to me. So you know, I've got to tell them to fix that, and you know, so
cool.
So people will know. A lot of people will know what I'm working on. So yes, I'm doing real engineering. Christopher J. Gamble.
I'm
Thank you very much. I'm reading data sheets, looking at graphs, and going, no, we can't use that.
How's it feel? Back in the saddle?
It's good. Yeah. I wish I could do more. It's time, you know.
Exactly.
Somebody asked this on the forum. What if I could do a video on my dream lab? You know, what I'd want in my dream lab. And I thought about it for a second, and I went,
a DeLorean.
The answer is, the answer is time to work on stuff. Yeah. That's my dream lab, where I walk in there and I have an infinite amount of time to work on stuff. Like, it's got nothing to do with the gear. you know.
Right. Well, you've already got all
yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I got gear coming out the wazoo, right? It doesn't
Right. Yeah,
like
you got more than you figured out. You have time to figure out how to work, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And we should mention the big thing, which is being discussed on the forum at the moment.
Sure.
Probably close off on this, is the new Keysight giveaway next month coming up, right?
You
it's going to be
giving
huge.
away, or is this them giving away?
Both.
Okay. Oh,
Both.
like joint thing.
Have you heard about this?
I saw your video about a giveaway. I didn't know. I saw you said some
right,
people on the
yes.
forum, but some people on the mailing list. That kind
If
of
you're
thing.
not
or
on the
something.
fail forum, then you won't be in. You won't be in it to
active
win it.
member on the.
Yeah, active member. So yes,
Right.
like as in yes. I don't know the post count yet. Anyway, this is an interesting thing, right? Basically, I'll tell you what's happening in March, because it's public knowledge now. March, Keysight are giving away a scope per day, right? It's the scopeamonth.com or something. And not just any scope. They're giving away their 1 gig 3000X series. 1
Really?
gig, right? 15 grand worth of scope. They're giving one of those away per day, plus giving away a couple of other even bigger things, right? It's like $500,000 giveaway, right? One of those, one gig scope per day, right?
Amen.
It's like mind blow, right?
Yeah.
So... it's just, it's incredible. And what I negotiated that they would give me 2 scopes so I could give away to my loyal viewers, right? Which was very nice of them. In return, they want some publicity for the contest, which I'm giving
just
them
got
now.
some.
We should. The amp hour should have. Damn.
Check.
The amp hour should have got a scope to give away.
Yeah, well.
And it's too late now, I think. Anyway, it's going to have like custom EEV. It's going to be special. It's going to have custom EEV blog branding. So it's going to have my little face hand on it and stuff. EEV blog special edition. Wank, wank. Okay, who cares? But the interesting thing is, right? I asked on the forum, okay, how can I do this giveaway? And basically, so many people said, like. You can't give away a 1 gig. Nobody is worthy of winning. Seriously, nobody is worthy of winning a 1 gig scope. Who the hell can actually make real productive use of a $15,000 1 gig scope? And I thought about it for a little while, and I thought,
do agree with that.
I came to the same conclusion.
So
Who?
I've been working with my coworker Dan has started. We have a design lab at Supply Frame, and we have we're building up the lab, and we're talking about what should we have there. And I'm like, you know what? You don't put a 1 gig scope in there. You put in 10 100 megahertz scopes because nobody needs. Nobody needs a couple people that's like Shahryar needs 1 gig and above scopes, right? Like people like that
doing
totally
his research on his bleeding edge research on 10 gig,
but
transmission systems.
It is a pyramid. It's like very few people need a 1 gig scope.
Exactly.
My formerly given to me scope has not been used to its full potential, right? I mean, like it's for the once in a while times. Exactly. So I totally agree with that. Doesn't mean people don't want to get it.
Because you like most bloggers, got one of the MDO 3000s, right?
Did.
The 500 meg, right?
Yeah. And the RF part was the more important thing, right? I think
of course. They're giving it away like candy. But how often are you going to use that 500 megahertz, like
not
practically
enough.
never, right?
Well, I just got mentioned, so I suppose that counts.
I know. It's and I came to the same conclusion. They're right. Nobody deserves this scope. Damn it. And I've got 2 to give away, and it's like I think it's too late. I think they're already on the way or something. So it's like
I don't think it's not a deserved thing. It's just no one actually needs it on a daily basis.
Nobody needs it. So everyone says, "Oh, sell them." Sell them and buy 10 scopes. And then give away 10 scopes, and I don't know. It's like I'm stuck between the rock and a hard place. I totally agree. It almost sucks having 2 15 grand scopes to give away.
I guess that's a monetary thing.
It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
I think that the takeaway is like there is a pretty strong consensus there that. When people lust after a high end scope or something like high end equipment like that, that's a sometimes food, right?
Right? Yeah.
That is the moose of the.
Right.
that is the whatever. It's a fancy dessert. You don't need it all the time, right?
No.
You want the ice cream sandwich. The ice cream sandwich is the Regal scope, right?
And as you were saying, like even a hackerspace doesn't really deserve or need one of these, right?
You benefit by having more of a simple thing because
a
more
scopes, usable tool,
right.
Maybe a 200 meg scope or so, like not a $400 scope. If I had the luxury to sell these things, which technically I do, right, because they're mine legally,
sure.
Then I'd go out and buy 5 $2,000 scopes or something. That's a more
I guess. I mean, it's all horses for courses. Is that the right phrase? Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Is that the right phrase here? I don't actually know. I've never known.
Horses for courses. You have the right tool for the job, basically.
Sure. Okay.
That's what
horses. Courses. Yes.
So
horses.
what do I do? What do I do? I'm stuck in this position of having to give away these two
first world problems. First
world problems.
Yeah,
giving away two
really
scopes
expensive.
that are worth more than a new car.
How about
sell
the 2 scopes and donate the money? I don't know, to an educational program.
Technically I can do that. Legally, Keysight are giving them to me. They're mine. I can do anything I like with it. But that's bad relations. It's bad public relations for me to go sell them and then go and buy Rigol scopes and give those away. It's like as much as I want to, as much as I think, although, like with hindsight, right? I didn't think. I just went, I didn't know that they were actually going to be 1 gig scopes, right? I just said, they didn't tell me. I didn't know the details at the time. Yeah, we'll just give you 2 scopes, and I thought they'd give me, maybe a $5,000 scope if I'm lucky,
right,
kind of thing. But no, they're like the 1 gig model. Holy shitballs.
You'll figure it out.
So with hindsight, I wanted just to ask, because they actually wanted me to promote this thing. And, I don't take money for promotion or anything like that. So I said, look, I'll do the promotion. In return, just give me a couple of scopes so I can give them away to my viewers, so my viewers win, right? So they get something out of it. And with hindsight, I probably should have went, well, just pay me. Just give me $10,000. I'll make a promo video for you, and I'll go buy... and then with the $10,000, I could have, went and bought X scopes. It's a problem that's pissing me off. It shouldn't be, but it is, unfortunately. So I don't know. What would you do?
You asking me or the crowd?
Audience.
Good.
I'm crowdfunding the solution.
I don't care.
I'm crowdsourcing. Yeah, you'll just laugh from the sidelines.
I don't know. You'll be fine.
Yep.
I think I honestly think you're doing the right thing. The community matters. It's good that they're you guys are all talking about it. That's good. Honestly, it really is. So, what I'm trying to say is,
suffering my jocks.
Join the EEV blog forum. That is a good idea. I think there actually is a really. I can't do forums. I can't keep up with them, but I think that obviously you have a very good forum there. So
it's awesome. It's one of the best forums I've ever belonged to, although I'm biased. But,
a little bit, but that's okay. I think you get it that one time.
But
cool, man. Well, next week we will either have a guest. I have a guest, robotics guest lined up at some point. I'm excited about that. Or we do need to do another call-in show. I will be back home. So
we'll
have one of those.
I've only ever done one call-in show.
Really? No.
Yeah.
2, right?
No, I think I've only done 1.
Who was... No.
Was it 2? Okay, maybe.
Yeah, no, there was 2. We've done 3 so far. So we did the first 2, and then I was with Alicia and Chris for the third one, rather. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll do another one, though, soon. And we'll definitely announce it on the blog and post it in places. When we do that, again, the last 2 times we've done that, we were going to call you back. If you'd like... If you have a burning question you'd like to ask and you want to call in and leave us a voicemail so that we'll know that you're interested, you can call 929 amp hour at any time.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you get 555 amp hour?
Oh, sorry. It's the area code is not under my
damn it.
Sorry. So 929 amp hour. There's also an 800 number. I can find it here.
Phone 929 amp hour. Sorry, I can't do a radio announcer's voice.
Right. Well, the 827-6255. That's the one I was trying to
Call now. We'll be
talk.
giving away free icy cold cans of Coke. Sorry.
Yeah. So the toll-free number is 1-855-967-8699. So you can call that from anywhere. You should be able to call on Skype from anywhere and leave us a voicemail. So you can do that at any time. And we'll just so we'll set up a time to call you back and stuff like that. So you can call us at any time, 929 amp hour or 1-855-967-8699. And and that will be for our next call-in show. Not sure if it's going to be next week or the week after, but we love talking to you guys. It's I really do like the call-in shows. I think they're really fun.
Yep.
I think the timing is always kind of a little weird, but if we really work it out, if we need to, we can split up the times and call different time zones if we really need to. So,
dude, we sound like a real radio show.
Sort of, minus the advertising. Someday, maybe not. Who cares?
No, we're patron supported. So thank you very much to all our patrons. If Patreon supporters, patrons.
There are Patreon patrons. Yeah, patrons. Yeah,
yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yes, which we always link in somewhere, or it's on our website if you want to help support the show. Keeps it going, pays the bills, keeps the lights on.
Yep.
That sort of jazz.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, talk to you next week, I suppose. Good show this week.
Yep. Catch you next time.
See ya.